Medicare, we're on the fast track to being completely tapped, but it may happen even sooner than we thought. So instead of just having to worry about us, now people in my generation will have to possibly worry about taking care of our parents. Here to break it all down for us is the Watchdog on Wall Street, Mr. Chris Markowski. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning.
All right, so we'll be flashing some of these little tidbits across the screen as we talk here, but basically Medicare already paying out more than it collects.
Yes.
Social Security set to do so soon, I think 2017. Both funds have both programs have massive trust funds that will now be depleted even faster than we thought. Give us some perspective on this historically. FDR started these programs, right?
If I was Bernie Madoff's lawyer, he was the head Ponzi scheme guy that had that huge billion-dollar Ponzi scheme. If I was his lawyer, I'd use the Social Security defense, kind of like the Chewbacca defense from South Park.
Right.
I'd use the Social Security defense because basically Social Security is nothing more than a Ponzi scheme. That 12.4% that comes out of your paycheck.
12.4% of your paycheck.
4% comes from your employer. The 8 comes from you. It doesn't go into an account. It's not saved. It's not invested. It's a pay-as-you-go system. The money comes in, the money goes out. It's kind of like Harry and Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber. There's a big stack of IOUs in a file cabinet in West Virginia. Eventually, it's not going to work any longer, and that date keeps getting closer and closer.
Right.
It is a $40 trillion hole we're looking at, Andy. That, you talk about a 10,000-pound gorilla in the room. We got a $40 trillion gorilla in the room, and nobody has any legal right to Social Security.
So yeah, now we got a viewer email here. People, particularly in the younger generations, really expressing their frustration with this. We got one. I think we're going to pop it up here in a second. I'm looking for it in my notes here, but there it is. As for Social Security and Medicare funds running out, I don't know why this is such a shock to everyone. My generation has known for years that we aren't getting any of our Social Security. I don't think we should have to pay in if we're not going to get it in the end. Not from a 20-year-old viewer in Texas. Why is it that the younger generation is still being forced to pay into this program that they're now telling us is not going to be around for us?
Because they're not powerful. It's as simple as that. You take a look at the AARP and the power of the AARP, and any attempt to try to reform Social Security or try to help benefit, it gets shot down. They call it the political third rail. These people vote. They donate a lot of money. Great special last week on ABC in regards to Medicare and the amount of money that's being spent needlessly on health care expenses. It's a disaster. But if you're in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, I'm sorry, you're going to have to just accept it. I have, saying, you know what, I'm not going to get Social Security. I'm not going to rely upon the government. It's just a tax.
And so real quick, we only have a few seconds left, you've got to invest for your own future.
You've got to save. Always rely upon yourself in life. That's pretty much a key to being successful, is rely upon yourself, not the government.
We all knew Social Security and Medicare were on the fast track to being completely tapped, but it may happen sooner than we originally thought. So instead of just worrying about us, now we're worrying about taking care of our parents. Here to break it down for us is the Watchdog on Wall Street, Chris Markowski. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so you addressed Social Security with Andy in the last hour. So let's talk about Medicare, because it's in worse shape than Social Security is. The trust fund is, going to be tapped out by 2017, 2 years earlier than originally thought. So what contributed to this? Because we knew it was going to happen, but why the current state?
Well, you have to almost think of our healthcare system in many ways almost like going to a buffet, a $10.99 buffet, but on that $10.99 buffet, you've got lobster, filet mignon, oysters, and all these expensive things. And when people are allowed to go for every single bump, bruise, hangnail to the doctor, and they're doing that in many places around the country. We see this happen in Florida. It's almost like going out to the doctor is a social event in many communities. It's a problem. Elderly people are spending 2.6 times the amount of money on health care than they put into the system. Hence, a Ponzi scam. When the money stops flowing in, it's going to collapse.
Well, there's, a number of factors that go into this, because when Medicare first started, I don't think people were living as long as they do today, and then no one could really anticipate that health care costs were going to soar as they did. And then in the current state of our economy, with so many people out of work, the workforce is a lot smaller than it once was.
Well, we've had times like this in the past when the workforce has shrunk as well. This is not the worst situation. Medicare, when it was set up in the 1960s, once again, part of the Great Society programs, try to give and give and give and give and give, and eventually you have to pay the piper. And, we're all talking about health care reform right now. Now, we've got 8 weeks, they said they want to have health care reform. 2 weeks, Congress is going to be on vacation. They're going to reform 1/6 of our national economy within 6 weeks. I'm sorry, I'm not buying that at all.
Well, it's very ambitious. So what do you think is the solution or the radical changes we need to make to be able to, give health care to the elderly who are on Medicare, or they're relying on Medicare, and the uninsured Americans? We have 47 uninsured Americans. We have about 20 seconds.
We have too many middlemen involved in the entire equation. You need to eliminate the middlemen. We don't have insurance here in this country. We prepay for medical expenses. That's part of the problem.
Okay, Chris, thank you.
We've been hanging out with the Watchdog on Wall Street all morning. Chris Markowski talking a lot this morning about health care in light of the news about Medicare being insolvent even quicker than we thought.
Shocker.
I got an email here straight to me. Thank you, Sue, for sending it in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, saying, I understand your point about government-run health care. However, people need to understand that as long as private health care is for profit, it won't work. Sue, listen, I think that we're of the same heart here, and that all of us want to see people get good health care coverage. However, I couldn't disagree with you more. Sue, there's no reason why profit can't work the way it does in every other necessity of life: food, clothing, shelter, everything else. And Chris, you and I were talking about the problems that we have with insurance and the way that insurance is abused. Talk about what you were saying to me during the break about homeowners insurance and car insurance.
Wait, the way we buy health insurance it's completely insane, if you want to think about it. If you go out and you buy car insurance for your car, if you've got a jalopy out there, you get yourself a high deductible. You don't care if you get a couple fender benders here and there. You pay a certain price, but most certainly you're not buying car insurance that's going to pay for an oil change, or if you need a new tire. The same thing with home insurance. You're not buying home insurance
to
when
put a new addition on or change a light bulb.
Exactly, but that's what we do with health insurance. You see these plans out there that cost multiple thousands of dollars that cover everything from aromatherapy to drug abuse on through, and a lot of this stuff is government mandates. People need to get away from that and get health insurance that they can afford. For example, my family of 5.
Listen to this, people.
Okay.
Most people don't know about health savings accounts. You need to hear this. Go ahead.
A family of 5, I pay out of pocket. The most I can pay out of pocket over the course of the year is a little under $9,000. I have a $5,600 deductible. That money goes into a health savings account, which lowers my tax basis by $5,600. Looks like an IRA. And the rest is the insurance part. Once I reach the $5,600 threshold, then the insurance kicks in. If it doesn't, all that money that I put in my HSA stays there. It grows. It can be invested. It can do all sorts of things with it. It's true insurance.
Yeah, and so a lot of people, they're paying these huge out-of-pocket, they're taking it out of your paycheck to pay these insurance programs that you're saying they are covering everything, when that's not how you should be buying health care.
This was also born out of World War II, when they had wage controls. Just when they started putting health care in regards to these things. That's a part of the problem as well. There's so many different factors, and I know we're running out of time.
All right, thanks, Chris. For more information, head to our website, dailybuzznow.com.